Maybe your hair isn't getting thinner, it's just silently suffering from a misunderstanding. There are mornings when you look in the mirror, and you don't recognize the hair staring back at you. It's flat, it won't hold a style, and it lacks the bounce it once had. But what upsets you isn't just that image, it's the feeling that you've tried everything, and nothing has changed. So you tell yourself, maybe this is just the price of aging. But what if I told you that maybe your hair isn't weakening, it's just being cared for incorrectly, starting with the smallest habits? I used to think I understood everything about hair until I discovered a phenomenon that is quietly cooking fine hair from the inside. And the dangerous thing is, most women over 50 have no idea they are making the same mistake. In this video, I will help you distinguish between fine hair and thinning hair, and together we'll uncover 5 seemingly harmless mistakes that are silently destroying your hair every day. If you've ever felt like your hair just isn't itself anymore, then this video is for you. If you find this content helpful, please gently press the like button, subscribe, and share to help more women understand their hair better and learn to love it again. Let's start with the simplest thing, the first mistake. You truly know if your hair is fine or if it's thinning? Mistake number 1. Confusing fine hair and thinning hair. Have you ever stood in front of the mirror, lightly stroked your hair, and asked yourself, why is my hair shedding so much? Perhaps you see more strands caught on your brush, or you notice your scalp showing more than before, and immediately assume the worst, that your hair is falling out uncontrollably. But the truth sometimes isn't about the amount of hair you're losing. It's about the feeling that your hair is lighter, flatter, and lifeless. And this feeling causes many women to confuse thinning hair with fine hair. Simply put, fine hair refers to hair where the individual strands are small, thin, and easily compressed against the scalp. Thinning hair, however, means the density of the hair, the number of strands on your scalp is decreased. A person can have a high volume of hair, but if the individual strands are very small, the scalp may show through when light hits it, leading them to believe they are experiencing hair loss. This feeling, which seems like a sign of aging, is actually just a change in the structure of the hair strand. This confusion has led millions of women down a path of subsequent mistakes. When they believe they are experiencing hair loss, they start using heavy hair growth products containing stimulating ingredients, alcohol, or menthol, hoping to stimulate the hair roots. But if your hair is fine, doing this is like adding more weight to already delicate hair. The result is hair that easily becomes greasy, loses volume, and won't hold a style. And then you cut it short to make it healthier, only to use gels, mousse, and flat irons to style it. Each step of the care routine, if headed in the wrong direction, can make the hair flatter, tangled, and weaker every day. You see, fine hair doesn't need much. It just needs gentle, targeted care. Imagine holding 2 strands. One is sewing thread, the other is a rope. They're the same length, but with just a light breeze, the thread will blow away, soft and limp, while the rope maintains its shape. Your hair, if it is fine, needs a special approach to care, too. The goal is not to try and make it look like thick hair, but to help it become the best version of itself. And you aren't wrong for thinking your hair is changing. But if you start with the wrong understanding, you will drift further off course. Fine hair doesn't need thick serums or heavy oils. It needs gentle shampoo and a lightweight structure. It needs lift from the roots, not weight at the ends. And most of all, it needs you not to compare it to the hair you had 20 years ago. You are not weak. Your hair is not weak. It's just speaking a new language, is softer, more subtle. And when you learn how to listen, you won't just save your hair, you'll rediscover the feeling of being yourself through every touch of those seemingly silent strands. And this small mistake, which seems like just a misunderstanding, opens the door to deeper damage. Because if you don't understand what your hair needs, you might do the thing that hurts it most, using heat incorrectly. The next segment will show you why many hair types never recover, and it starts with the very flat iron we use every morning. Mistake number 2, using heat without hair protection. Every time you flat iron, curl, or quickly blow dry your hair, Because you're in a rush to leave the house. Do you ever think, I'm just styling it for a minute, what's the harm? Day after day, you notice your hair is thinner, weaker, won't hold a style, and lacks its natural bounce. Some people might say, it's due to age-related hormones. Others might think, my hair just isn't healthy anymore. But no one tells you this. You are literally cooking your hair from the inside out without even realizing it. I once met a client, a woman in her 60s, elegant, meticulous, and proud that she had never missed a morning hair care routine in 30 years. Every morning, she would blow-dry her hair with a round brush, then lightly flat iron the ends to keep them from flipping out. She used low heat and always made sure her hair was dry before she started. Yet, her hair gradually became dry, brittle, and lost its elasticity. Whenever she styled it, her hair wouldn't cooperate. It lay flat and unresponsive as if it was protesting its owner. We discovered that her hair was suffering from what the hairdressing world calls bubble hair, a form of irreversible heat damage. When you use a flat iron or heated brush on hair that is even slightly damp, the water inside the hair strand heats up too quickly, turns into steam, and creates pressure inside the hair shaft. The easiest image to visualize this: a can of soda being heated. You don't see anything from the outside, but inside, the gas starts to expand, build up, and then boom, the hair strand swells, and its structure explodes from within. Once those air bubbles form, the hair loses its ability to maintain elasticity. It can no longer bounce back. It becomes brittle, easily broken, and most importantly, it cannot recover. The question is there a way to avoid this and still style your hair, still look your best? The answer is yes. But it doesn't come from abandoning your flat iron or blow dryer entirely. It comes from understanding and respecting the limitations of fine hair. Because fine hair has a smaller diameter, it heats up faster than regular hair. If you use heat over 300 degrees Fahrenheit, especially when the hair isn't completely dry internally, the risk of bubble hair significantly increases. You don't have to give up styling, you just need to learn how to approach it with a gentler temperature. Always let your hair fully dry before using heat. And always use a heat protection productive in those containing light silicones. In the past, we were wary of silicone because we feared buildup, but with newer, lightweight, fast evaporating types, they act as a thin armor, protecting your hair from being cooked every day. You see, your hair is not lazy as you might think. It's not resisting you. It's simply exhausted from too much pressure without adequate protection. When you change your approach, no longer forcing your hair to be perfect now in a few minutes and instead prepare it with a gentle foundation, a moderate temperature, and a necessary break, your hair will respond. It will become soft again. Hold a style longer. And sometimes, you'll be surprised by how little things like hair that no longer swells from heat can make you feel more confident when you walk out the door. And you know what? No matter how damaged your hair is, the fastest destroyer isn't the heat itself. It's when you apply the heat. Because just applying heat at the wrong time on damp hair is enough to render all your efforts meaningless. That leads us to the next mistake, and perhaps the most silent one: blow drying incorrectly, or letting your hair air dry at the wrong time. The next segment will change the way you hold your blow dryer every morning. Mistake number 3. Air drying without guidance. Many people believe that after age 50, the best thing you can do for your hair is nothing at all. No pulling, no straightening, no heat. Just let it air dry naturally, gently. Over time is a kind of benevolent surrender. But the truth is, air drying hair isn't always good, especially if you're hoping for hair with form, volume, and vitality. Wet fine hair is as weak as a thin sheet of paper that's just been soaked. If you crumple it up, fold it, or let it lie flat in an unformed position when it dries, it will remember that posture. But unlike a deliberate curl, what naturally air-dried hair retains is often a state of tangles, flatness, breakage, and messiness. This leaves many people, even those who don't use any heat, feeling that their hair looks damaged, uncontrollable, and unattractive. They start to wonder, I haven't done anything. Why is my hair getting worse every day? I remember a conversation with a 58-year-old woman, a former art teacher. She has always loved beauty and refinement but was extremely afraid of damaging her hair. For years, she didn't use a blow dryer or style her hair. She just washed it and let it air dry while walking in the garden or doing housework. Yet, every time she came to the salon, her hair always looked as though she had just woken up flat at the roots, tangled at the ends, and unable to hold any shape. She sighed, "I don't understand. I left my hair alone, but why won't it leave me alone?" We realized she wasn't wrong for choosing a natural approach, but the natural approach that hair needs isn't neglect. It's a gentle direction, a way of guiding without controlling. The reality is, when hair is wet, the cuticles of the hair strand open up. This is the time when hair is most vulnerable, but it's also the golden moment to define its shape. If you just use a regular towel and wrap your hair tightly as an old habit, you are accidentally destroying the hair's structure before it can even form. If you tie your hair up because you're busy, put it in a quick bun, or simply let it flatten against your shoulders, while it dries, you are sending the wrong signal to the hair about the shape it should hold when dry. So, how can hair breathe while still holding its form? The answer lies in preparation. It's not complicated. It just needs to be done correctly. Use a microfiber towel, soft, light, and highly absorbent instead of a thick cotton towel. Don't rub, just gently blot along the direction of the hair. Then, if possible, use a blow dryer with a diffuser and gently lift the roots. You don't need to dry it completely, just until the hair is no longer damp and limp. And most importantly, do not tie your hair up while it's wet. Don't force your hair to stay put before it has a chance to freely choose its shape. Fine hair doesn't need you to dictate to it, but it also can't thrive on its own. It needs you to be there like a companion, not just loving it when it looks good, but listening when it's weak, not just indulging it with neglect, but guiding it with gentleness. And when you do that, your hair will respond with life, a soft, fine, but resilient kind of life just like you. Now, if you've ever wondered why your hair, even without chemicals or heat, always fails to hold a style, perhaps you've found the answer. But this journey doesn't stop here, because sometimes the tools that seem the most familiar, like the round brush you use every morning, are the deep-seated cause of fine hair's cycle of breakage and loss of elasticity. And that is the next mistake we need to review together. Mistake number 4. Using a round brush at the wrong time. There is a familiar sound every morning: the low hum of the blow dryer, the sound of the round brush rotating, pulling each section of hair taut, and your gentle sigh of hope that today's hair will behave. But there's one thing no one tells you clearly. If you use a round brush while your hair is still wet, you might be tearing at the very root of your hair's vitality. I once met a woman, 62 years old, with light gray hair and a petite frame, who always carried a metal round brush in her bag. Every day, she used it to blow dry for volume, like a ritual of maintaining elegance. But despite her careful routine, her hair was breaking off in short segments, especially at the ends. She thought it was due to washing incorrectly, lack of nutrition, or aging, until I saw how she pulled the brush slowly but steadily while her hair was still glistening with water under the light. Fine hair, especially when wet, is not like a rope that you can pull, twist, and heat to set a style. It's like silk fabric: soft, thin, sensitive, and easily damaged under continuous pressure. If you've ever ironed a damp silk shirt, you'll understand. Creases appear instantly. The surface shrinks and deforms and cannot be smoothed out again. This is exactly what happens to fine hair when you quickly use a round brush and heat right after washing and towel drying. It may look fine on the outside, but each strand is being stretched, strained, and micro-torn internally, leading to a loss of elasticity and easy breakage later. You don't need to give up your round brush, but you need the right timing. Wait until your hair is at least 70–80% dry before starting to style. At that point, the hair strand is strong enough to withstand tension, structured enough to hold a style, but still moist enough to accept a new shape. And if you are using a brush with a metal core, consider replacing it. Metal retains heat longer, distributes it unevenly, and can bake your hair from the inside when held in one spot for too long. Instead, choose a wide toothbrush with rounded bristles, or one made of heat-resistant plastic or ceramic-coated wood. It's lighter, gentler, and kinder to fine hair. If all you are looking for is a little subtle volume at the roots, you don't need to pull the entire section. Just gently lift from the roots, allowing the heat to flow from below, creating space between the scalp and the hair strand enough to make the hair look alive, with more life, without sacrificing the durability of the strand. The most important thing is, you aren't damaging your hair, you are simply adding pressure to the process of looking good. Every morning, you look in the mirror and expect your hair to obey as a familiar reflex. But hair, especially after age 50, doesn't need to be forced to be beautiful. It needs you to understand it, be patient, and make gentle adjustments. When you do this, you will see something very special happen. Your hair begins to appreciate you by becoming softer, breaking less, and gradually reclaiming itself. But no matter how carefully you care for your hair, if one final factor is overlooked, all efforts can fall apart. Because it's not just about how you use a brush or apply heat, but the direction of the airflow you use to dry your hair every day. Something that seems harmless can determine whether your hair looks vibrant or flat. And that is the final mistake you shouldn't overlook. Mistake number 5. Drying in the wrong direction causes hair to lose volume. There are changes so subtle they are hard to notice, yet they make a surprisingly significant difference. Like the way you hold your blow dryer every morning, which seems harmless but could be the single reason why your hair, after 50, is flat, lifeless, and never holds the volume you expect. Just by changing the drying direction, your hair can reclaim years of youthfulness. A 60-year-old woman once told me that despite trying everything, volumizing shampoo, root-lifting combs, lightweight mousse, her hair would always fall flat immediately after drying. "I think my hair is just too weak to be bouncy like it used to be," she said. But then I observed how she was drying her hair, holding the dryer off to the side, or circling from underneath with the airflow blowing against the direction of the hair strands. Each time she finished drying, her hair was slightly frizzy at the ends, dull through the mid-lengths, and lacked any shine. What she lacked was not the right product. It was the right direction. Fine hair, as you now know, is sensitive and easily affected by seemingly trivial details. When you dry from below, or dry erratically without direction, you are blowing open the cuticles on the surface of the hair strand. This outer layer, which should lie flat like fish scale, stands up, causing the hair to lose its smoothness, reflect light poorly, and fail to hold its shape. Even when dry, the hair can look frizzy and damaged, despite not being structurally harmed inside. Worse, if you constantly change the drying angle, the hair loses its axis, meaning it has no clear guide for styling and no foundation to hold a shape. The solution is not complicated. It doesn't come from expensive technology, but from slightly raising the dryer above your head and adjusting the nozzle so the airflow moves from top to bottom, following the hair's axis like sunlight shining straight down on a tree trunk in the morning. When you do this, the cuticles lie flat, the strands align smoothly, maintain their natural shine, and volume is easier to achieve because the hair is not being forced in the wrong direction. To assist, use the concentrator nozzle that comes with your dryer. It helps focus the air and reduces turbulence. Always move the dryer in a smooth motion from the roots to the ends, rather than twisting intuitively. You know, there's something very similar between hair and a woman. When guided in the right direction, both know how to shine in their own way. Just as we need light from the correct angle to clearly see our faces in the mirror, hair needs airflow from the right direction to reveal its true form. Perhaps you thought your hair couldn't maintain its bounce like it used to, but in reality, it was just waiting for you to change your approach. Gently, no struggle needed, just correct. And when you change your drying direction, what you regain is not just volume, it's the feeling that a part of yourself has been reawakened. Very gently, You have now reviewed 5 mistakes, not to blame yourself but to reevaluate and refresh your own hair care journey. And if you are asking yourself, where should I start now? The answer is actually very close. It begins with a small habit, a slight adjustment, and something you may have forgotten long ago. You deserve hair that loves you back. Fine hair is not a sign of weakness or fading. It is not a verdict that you have lost your beauty. On the contrary, it is your body whispering to you that it's time to slow down, be gentler, and nurture yourself from the very beginning. You. If there is ever a moment that makes you pause when looking in the mirror, it's not because your hair is no longer beautiful, but because you are trying to cling to the past instead of learning to listen to what is newly emerging. You don't need to make your hair young again. You just need to let it be itself, soft, dynamic, effortless, just like you, when you stop trying to fit into others' expectations. If you have made one of these 5 mistakes, don't be discouraged, because now you know. And that knowledge is a gift. Every time you touch your hair from today forward, do so not just with your hands but with understanding, with love, and with the freedom to return to the woman you have become.